Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
All right, excellent. Well, today we're going to be stepping into a world kind of shrouded in mystery and power. A world where ancient wisdom meets tangible results.
Tangible result.
Exactly. A world where spirits dance at the command of meticulously crafted symbols. You've probably guessed it already.
I think I have.
We're talking about the 44 seals of King Solomon.
Ah, very intriguing, aren't they? They really are.
Yeah.
Our main source for this deep dive is manual-44-celos.pdf.
Mm-hmm.
And this is interesting. This isn't some ancient scroll tucked away in a forgotten library.
Right.
No, this is a Spanish language document. It's very practical. It's a guide, almost like a toolkit, for using these seals.
Oh, wow. So it's like having a direct line to the secrets that Solomon used to amass his legendary wisdom and power.
Well, it certainly presents itself that way. Right. But before we unlock the secrets of the seals themselves, let's just kind of step back for a second and take a look at the figure behind them, at King Solomon. The Bible, it paints him as this extraordinary ruler. He inherited the throne of Israel from King David, and he ushered in this unprecedented era of prosperity, incredible wealth, incredible power.
But it's not just his political achievements that make him stand out, is it?
No, not at all. You're right. I mean, Solomon's wisdom, even today, is legendary. And a big part of that mystique, comes from the story of a magical ring. It was a gift to him directly from God.
Mm-hmm.
And the story, it's not just some biblical tale. It echoes through Judaism, Christianity, Islam.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating how it permeates across so many different traditions and religions.
It seems like everyone wants a piece of that magical ring.
Mm-hmm.
But how do these seals tie into this? How do they tie into the story of King Solomon and this ring?
Well, the seals are thought to be connected to a text called the Key of Solomon, or, in Latin, the Clavicula Salomonis, which is a grimoire, basically a textbook, if you will, for magic. Imagine, you have a combination of ancient wisdom, these potent symbols, and rituals that are designed to channel these extraordinary forces.
No, we're talking angels and demons here, right? We're not talking about just ordinary forces.
You got it. Precisely. The seals are each linked to specific celestial beings. Angels, demons, even spirits associated with the elements. We're talking air, earth, fire, water. And each seal, think of it like a key. It unlocks the potential to influence events. That are connected to specific planetary actions.
So we're saying that these seals can allow you to tap into the power of the planets to achieve your desires.
Well, that's how the manual presents it, at least. And what I think is so fascinating is, the manual doesn't just list these seals and what they can do, what their powers are.
Yeah, right.
It actually provides instructions on how to create them and how to use them. It's almost like a recipe book.
Wow, that's incredible. So where do we even begin to unpack the power of these 44 seals?
Well, the manual, it's organized by the 7 planets recognized in ancient astrology. And it starts with Saturn.
Okay. Saturn, the planet of limitations, right. Heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff, that's one way to put it.
Yeah.
But remember, right, that every limitation also implies a boundary, a foundation to build upon. So think about some of Saturn's correspondences. We've got Saturday, the color black, and the metal lead, and they all point to this concept of structure constraint.
Okay. So are the Saturn seals all about, overcoming these limitations?
Well, it's more nuanced than that, to be honest. The first pentacle of Saturn, for example, it's said to compel obedience. And the manual even quotes a verse from Psalms to illustrate his power. It says, the Ethiopian shall kneel before him, his enemies shall lick the dust.
Wow, that's a pretty potent image, right? It speaks to a deep desire for control, I think. I guess in Solomon's time, you're surrounded by enemies. Ensuring obedience would have been key to maintaining power.
Absolutely. That's a great point. But not all the Saturn seals are about domination. The third pentacle of Saturn, for example, it focuses on protection. It's like a spiritual shield. It's against conspiracies, evil spirits, and it invokes the power of specific angels, for defense.
Right, so it's almost like an ancient security system, providing a sense of safety and stability.
Exactly. Right. And then we have the sixth pentacle of Saturn, which is where things get a little darker, shall we say. It's described as a way to cause demonic possession in an enemy.
That's definitely a seal you don't want to mess with. It does make you wonder about the ethical implications of wielding such power,
Indeed. The manual itself doesn't really go into ethics too much.
Yeah.
But it's a question that arises naturally, right, when you're dealing with forces of this magnitude.
All right, let's move on to a lighter planet. How about Jupiter? What sort of energy are we dealing with there?
Well, Jupiter's all about expansion, good fortune, abundance. So think Thursday, the color gold, and the metal tin. And these all reflect this concept of growth and prosperity.
Sounds a lot more appealing than Saturn's limitations. Tell me, are the Jupiter seals like winning lottery tickets?
Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
No, not quite.
Okay.
But they are linked to success and wealth. So, for example, you've got the first pentacle of Jupiter, and this one's designed to help acquire treasures and achieve business success. And it even names the specific angels that are associated with these goals. It's almost like you're enlisting their support for your ventures.
So it's not just about material wealth, but it's also about the wisdom and guidance to achieve it.
Exactly. You got it. And it's not all about business either. The fifth pentacle of Jupiter is said to enhance psychic visions. So, you're able to see beyond the veil of the ordinary. And the manual even draws a parallel to the biblical story of Joshua's vision of the ladder to heaven.
It seems like these seals are opening up a whole world of possibilities. But before we get carried away by Jupiter's expansive energy, let's turn our attention to a planet known for its fiery nature.
Oh, yes.
Mars. What does Mars bring to the table?
Well, Mars embodies courage, ambition, and drive. But also, conflict and confrontation. It's kind of got two sides to it, right?
Yeah.
And its correspondences reflect this duality. So you've got Tuesday, the color red, and iron, the metal of weapons and tools.
So are the Mars seals a double-edged sword? Power and danger in equal measure?
Well, perhaps. The first pentacle of Mars is all about amplifying those core Martian traits: ambition, enthusiasm, and courage. So it's like a shot of adrenaline, for the soul.
Oh, wow.
It invokes specific angels to bolster your inner strength.
That sounds like the perfect seal for anyone facing a challenge or pursuing a bold goal.
Indeed. But then we have the second pentacle of Mars, which is, I got to say, a bit of a surprise. It's actually a healing talisman.
Oh.
It's designed to restore health and vitality.
Yeah.
And what's intriguing is it incorporates Christian elements.
Yeah.
Which is not something you'd typically expect in a text that's attributed to Solomon.
Right. Yeah, that is surprising. It suggests a blending of traditions, perhaps, maybe hinting at the evolution of these practices over time.
It's a fascinating detail, for sure. And then there's the seventh pentacle of Mars,
Okay.
which takes us back to the realm of power and control. It's said to allow you to manipulate the weather.
Weather manipulation. That is a power with some serious implications. Imagine being able to summon rain during a drought. Or calm a storm at sea.
Yeah.
It really raises questions about responsibility and the potential for misuse.
Absolutely. It certainly does. And the manual, as we've seen, doesn't shy away from describing seals with the potential for both good and bad. It's up to the user, ultimately.
Right.
How to wield such power.
A heavy burden, to be sure.
Yeah.
But before we get lost in these ethical dilemmas, let's shift our focus to a more radiant celestial body, the sun. I'm curious to see what kind of magic its seals hold.
The sun, unsurprisingly, embodies power, glory, illumination. Its correspondences, they're pretty unmistakable. Sunday, the color yellow, gold, the metal of kings, and the embodiment of divine radiance.
Right. So are the sun seals the ultimate source of power and influence?
Well, they certainly aim high. The first pentacle of the sun is particularly striking. It depicts the angel Metatron, who is considered the vice-regent of God, like second in command.
Right.
And this seal is believed to be able to grant any desire, no matter how grand.
Wow, talk about aiming for the stars.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have the fourth pentacle of the sun, which offers a different kind of power. It's said to allow you to see the true nature of others and even perceive spirits.
Oh, wow. So it's like a truth serum and a ghost detector all rolled into one.
You could say that, yes.
Yeah.
It taps into the sun's illuminating power, right? Revealing what's hidden, bringing clarity to deception.
These sun seals are truly fascinating. But we still got more planets to explore. Next up, let's delve into the realm of love and beauty with Venus. What do the Venus seals offer?
Well, Venus, as you might expect, is all about love, beauty, and harmony. Think Friday, the color green, and copper. And these are all associated with those Venusian qualities.
Sounds lovely. So are the Venus seals like love potions and beauty charms?
Well, they do tap into that energy for sure. The first pentacle of Venus, for example, is designed to attract friendship and love.
Okay.
And it invokes the aid of specific angels who are associated with these desires. Almost like you're sending out a cosmic invitation for connection.
No, I like that. It's like a celestial dating app. but with a much more ancient and mystical vibe.
Exactly. But then we have the third pentacle of Venus, which takes a more, shall we say, direct approach to matters of the heart.
Okay.
It's described as this very powerful love charm, capable of compelling a specific person to desire the holder of the seal.
Hold on, that sounds a little ethically ambiguous, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Are we talking about manipulating someone's feelings here?
Well, it certainly raises questions about, free will and the boundaries of ethical influence. The manual itself doesn't really, delve into those nuances, but it's definitely a point worth considering.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that power, even in the realm of love, comes with responsibility. But let's move on from matters of the heart to the realm of the mind. Tell me, what do the Mercury seals offer?
Mercury, as the messenger of the gods, governs communication, intellect, and travel. And its correspondences reflect this very versatile nature. So you've got Wednesday, mixed colors, symbolizing adaptability, and the metal Mercury, known for its quicksilver nature, moving very quickly.
So are the Mercury seals all about speed and wit?
Well, not entirely, although they do tap into Mercury's quick-witted energy. The second pentacle of Mercury, for example, is described as a wish-fulfilling talisman. It's capable of granting even those seemingly impossible desires.
Now, that's a bold claim. What kind of wishes are we talking about here?
Well, the manual doesn't really get into specifics, but it hints at the power to overcome obstacles and achieve goals that seem out of reach.
Intriguing. What about the other Mercury seals?
Well, the third pentacle of Mercury, it's said to enhance writing abilities.
Okay.
And again, the manual provides a list of specific angels who supposedly aid in this endeavor. Almost like you're invoking a muse, for your creative process.
Right. So if you're struggling with writer's block, this could be the seal for you.
It might be worth a try.
I'll keep that in mind. All right, we've covered 6 planets now. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, and Mercury. That leaves us with one final celestial body to explore. The moon. What kind of magic do the moon seals hold?
Well, the moon, as you might expect, is all about emotions, intuition, the ebb and flow of life cycles. And its correspondences reflect this very lunar energy. So Monday, the color silver, and silver is the metal, symbolizing its very reflective and receptive nature.
So are the moon seals all about tapping into our emotions and intuition?
Well, they certainly play a role. The first pentacle of the moon, for example, is said to open doors and portals, both physical and spiritual.
Oh, wow.
It's about accessing what's hidden, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
That sounds mysterious and alluring.
It is. And then we have the fifth pentacle of the moon. It's all about accessing the realm of dreams and visions. It's said to induce prophetic dreams, and it can be used for banishing negative spirits, invoking the aid of specific angels, again for protection and guidance.
So it's like a dream enhancer and a spiritual cleanser all in one.
Exactly. And finally, we have the sixth pentacle of the moon, which, like one of the Mars seals we discussed earlier, is linked to weather manipulation. This one specifically is said to be able to summon rain.
Interesting. It seems like weather magic is a recurring theme with these seals, which makes sense, I guess, considering how vital weather is to agriculture and survival. But we've explored the individual seals associated with each planet now. Is there a seal that, encompasses the power of all 7?
There is. And it's considered the most potent seal of them all, the Great Pentacle.
The Great Pentacle. That sounds epic. Tell me everything.
All right, well, get ready. The Great Pentacle. It's believed to hold the power to summon and command all spirits, so it's like a master key to the unseen world.
That's incredible. What does it even look like? Is it some elaborate design, like with hidden symbols, cryptic codes?
Well, it is complex, that's for sure. It's visually, it represents the 10 Sephiroth, which are the 10 emanations of divine energy, in Kabbalistic tradition. And it even incorporates elements of the Hebrew alphabet.
So it's like a visual representation of the very building blocks of creation.
You could say that, yeah. The Great Pentacle, it's not just a symbol of power. It's really a reflection of the intricate structure of the cosmos itself.
That makes sense considering its ability to command all spirits. It's like holding the blueprint to the universe in your hands. But how do you even begin to use something as powerful as the Great Pentacle?
Well, what's fascinating is that the manual, it doesn't prescribe a specific use for it. Instead, it suggests kind of a scroll and see method,
Okay.
encouraging you to intuitively connect with the seal that resonates most strongly with your needs.
So it's like letting the seals guide you almost, trusting your intuition to find the right tool for the job.
Exactly. It emphasizes this personal connection to these symbols,
Yeah.
the recognition that their power is amplified by our intention and our understanding.
That's a refreshing perspective. It's not just about blindly following instructions. It's about developing a deeper understanding of the forces at play. But speaking of instructions, let's talk about the practical side of things here. How do you actually create these seals? Does it offer any specific guidelines?
It does.
Yeah.
And they're surprisingly detailed. It stresses the importance of timing,
Uh-huh.
creating the seal on the appropriate day and hour, using the correct color, and even the correct metal that's associated with the planet or the specific intention that you're working with.
So it's not just about drawing a pretty design. There's a whole ritualistic aspect to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Carefully aligning your actions with these celestial forces.
You got it. There's also this process of ritual cleansing, both for yourself and for the space where you're creating the seal. It's about purifying your intentions and creating like a sacred space for this work.
It sounds like a very mindful practice. It demands focus and reverence.
It is. And the manual also emphasizes the importance of invoking specific names of God, depending on the desired outcome. So whether you're, seeking protection, mercy, or blessings, there's a specific invocation to align your energy with that intention.
So it's like a spiritual recipe almost, carefully combining ingredients, symbols, timing, colors, metals, invocations to create this potent magical formula.
That's a great analogy. And as with any powerful recipe, the key is to follow the instructions carefully, treating the ingredients with respect.
What about the consecration process? Is there a specific ritual involved in activating the seal's power?
Yes, and it involves reciting designated psalms and the prayer from the Key of Salomon. And these elements, they add a layer of spiritual depth to the process. They connect the practitioner to a lineage of wisdom and tradition.
So it's not just about harnessing power, but also acknowledging this higher source and aligning yourself with that divine energy.
Exactly. And throughout the manual, there's this constant reminder to treat the seals with the utmost respect and responsibility.
Because these aren't just, trinkets or toys, are they?
No, not at all.
They're conduits to these powerful forces that should be approached with caution and reverence.
Precisely. The manual makes it very clear that these seals, they're powerful tools. And with great power, of course, comes great responsibility. It's a message that echoes, through time, reminding us that knowledge without wisdom can be a dangerous thing.
That's a powerful reminder. But let's step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture here. What stands out to you about all of this? What's the most fascinating aspect of the Seals of Salomon?
For me, it's the sheer variety of seals, each with its own unique purpose and power. It's like a catalog almost of human desires and aspirations, attracting love, achieving wealth, seeking protection, even influencing the forces of nature. It speaks to this deep longing within us, to shape our reality, to exert some control over the forces that impact our lives.
Yeah, I totally agree. It makes you wonder, is there a seal for every possible situation that we might encounter in life?
It certainly makes you think. And whether or not these seals actually have the power to, grant those desires, it's almost beside the point. What's truly fascinating is the glimpse that they offer into the human psyche, our timeless yearning for control, for security, for connection, for something more than the ordinary.
That's a brilliant point. It's not just about the magic itself, but about understanding the deeper human needs and motivations that drive our fascination with such practices.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that the manual, it presents these seals as powerful tools, but it also implies this level of discernment and responsibility.
Because wielding power, especially power that taps into, the unseen world, it demands a level of awareness, and ethical consideration.
Absolutely. And this brings us to a final and kind of provocative thought, I think. Imagine for a moment that King Solomon himself were here today, witnessing the modern-day interest in his ancient seals.
Wow, what a thought. What do you think his reaction would be? Would he be amused, intrigued, or perhaps even a little horrified?
It's hard to say. Would he caution against their use, fearing, the potential for misuse, or would he embrace their potential, recognizing their ability to help people achieve their goals, overcome challenges, or perhaps he would offer a perspective that we haven't even considered, a deeper understanding of the true nature of these seals and the forces that they represent.
That's a great question, and one that leaves us with a lot to ponder.
Indeed. The Seals of Solomon, they offer this fascinating glimpse into the intersection of history, magic, and spirituality.
They invite us to consider the very nature of power, the limits of human knowledge and the ethical considerations that come with wielding such potent forces.
It's a conversation that extends, far beyond the pages of this manual, reaching into the depths of our own beliefs, our values, and our choices.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the Seals of Solomon for now.
But as always, the exploration doesn't end here. We encourage you to continue researching, reflecting, and perhaps even experimenting, always with caution and responsibility, of course, to discover what resonates with you.
Remember, the true power lies not just in the seals themselves, but in our understanding and application of the knowledge that they represent.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that these seals with such ancient wisdom and power are still resonating with people today.
I know, it really makes you wonder, are these seals just relics of a bygone era? Or do they actually hold a power that transcends time?
I'm leaning towards the latter, especially when you consider the meticulous instructions for creating them and consecrating them. It's not just about drawing a symbol. It's about aligning yourself with specific energies, invoking divine names, tapping into the very rhythms of the cosmos.
Exactly. And speaking of cosmic rhythms, there's another fascinating aspect of the manual that we haven't really touched on yet: planetary hours.
Planetary hours, yeah, I've heard that term before, but I've always been a little fuzzy on what it actually means.
Right. Well, it's a concept that goes back to ancient astrology, and it's this idea that each hour of the day is ruled by a specific planet, and that these planetary rulers they influence the energies of that hour.
So it's like a celestial clock with each planet taking its turn to govern the flow of time.
Precisely. It's based on what's called the Chaldean order of the planets.
Okay.
Starting with Saturn, the slowest moving planet, and ending with the moon, the fastest.
Okay, so help me understand this. How do these planetary hours actually work?
So each day begins at sunrise with the hour that's ruled by the planet that corresponds to that day. So, for example, Monday would begin with a moon hour.
Makes sense. And then what? Do the planets just take turns in order?
They do. After the moon hour on Monday, the next hour would be ruled by Saturn, then Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, and then back to the moon.
Oh, okay. So if I were, let's say, creating a seal that's associated with Jupiter, I would ideally do it during a Jupiter hour on a Thursday.
That's right. The manual suggests that aligning your actions with these planetary hours can significantly amplify the power of the seals, harnessing the specific energies of that planet.
Wow, that adds a whole other layer of complexity and intentionality to the process. It's like celestial clockwork, carefully synchronizing your actions with the cosmic dance of the planet.
It is, and it's not just about the day and the hour either. The manual also, highlights the significance of using the appropriate colors and metals that are associated with each planet as well. So it's creating this multifaceted approach to aligning your intentions with those celestial forces.
So it's really a holistic practice, taking into account all these different correspondences, the planet, the day, the hour, the color, the metal, to create a truly potent magical formula.
It is. It's a reminder that magic, at least as it's presented in this manual, isn't about just haphazardly wishing for things.
Right.
It's about understanding the underlying principles of the universe and aligning yourself with those forces to achieve your goals.
It's like a spiritual science, carefully combining elements and energies to create this desired outcome.
You could say that. There's a real sense of ritualistic alchemy at play here, a blending of ancient wisdom, symbolic language, and a deep reverence for those unseen forces that shape our reality.
It's mind-blowing and a bit daunting, to be honest. I'm starting to feel like I need a spreadsheet just to keep track of all the planetary hours and correspondences.
I understand it can feel overwhelming at first, but the manual, it does assure us that even taking small steps can yield results. So for example, if you can't work with the actual metals, simply having a piece of that metal on your altar during the creation process can suffice.
That's good to know. It makes these practices a bit more accessible for those of us who aren't, master alchemists or astrologers.
Exactly. And remember, the most important ingredient in all of this is your intention. The seals, they act as a conduit for your will, amplifying those desires and aspirations. The knowledge and the tools, they're important, but they're ultimately in service to your heart's true desire.
It's a reminder that the true power, it lies within us. And these tools, these seals, these ancient practices, they can simply help us tap into and direct that power more effectively.
Beautifully said. And that's the essence of this deep dive, isn't it? To explore these ancient practices, to understand their symbolism and their methodology, and to consider how they might resonate with our modern lives. Not as a rigid dogma, but as a source of inspiration, a reminder of the power that resides within each of us.
It's been an incredible journey from the historical backdrop of King Solomon to the intricate details of each seal and the concept of planetary hours. It's been a whirlwind of information and insights.
And remember, the exploration, it doesn't stop here. We encourage you to delve deeper into the source material, to research the specific seals that pique your interest, and to approach these practices with a discerning and respectful mind, to ask questions, to experiment, and to discover what resonates with you.
Always with caution and responsibility, of course. Who knows what you might discover. Maybe you'll even find a seal that unlocks a hidden potential within yourself.
The possibilities are limitless. So until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world of knowledge that awaits us.
And as always, thanks for joining us on this deep dive adventure. Until next time.